This looks fun, right? How about now? In this video, I'm going to teach you my top 5 color grading tips for beginners in Davinci Resolve to go from this to this. Welcome back to Creator People, where we're all about helping family-friendly creators grow their influence and income with integrity. My name's Brandon, and in this video, I'm going to take you through some basic color grading tips and tricks that can totally change the look of your footage. I think a lot of people look at color grading kind of like magic. It's like an arcane practice, and you have to be an expert to understand it. But with Davinci Resolve, you really don't have to be. So I'm going to walk you through a few of the basic things you can do to improve the quality of your footage in just a few minutes. The first step I'm going to show you is auto color. This doesn't work all the time, but when it does, it kind of does feel like magic. See this clip of the pizza right here. I'm going to play it through and you'll see it looks fine. You can see the colors all separate. It's bright enough. Okay, looks fine. I'm going to go right down here and hit this little A with a circle around it. So when I click this, the computer's going to try to make it what it thinks it should look like. And you can see that's actually a pretty stark difference. Let's play that through again. That's a lot brighter, the colors pop a lot more, and all I did was literally click one button. Now that will work if you have a pretty well-lit scene that's already relatively well-balanced. It should do a pretty good job of it. Even some bad footage, it'll help, but sometimes the automatic approach isn't gonna cut it. Sometimes you need to do it a little more manually. That's okay, because you can adjust the lift, gamma, and gain using the RGB picker. First thing to do is select the clip you wanna work on and right-click on it, and go right down here to show RGB picker value. When I click on that, now it's giving me 3 numbers, R, G, and B, that's red, green, and blue balance for everything in the picture. Most of the time, when you don't have the right color in an image, it's really because the white balance isn't right. That's the camera figuring out what white looks like, and if it's off, things might look redder, or greener, or bluer, and it messes up the image. So look for something in the image you know is pretty close to true white, and put the RGB picker over it. For me, I know that this granola bar box in my wife's video should have pure white right here, but the R is 198, the G is 203, the B is 208. On white, they're all supposed to be even. They're all supposed to be the same level and just higher or lower depending on how dark it is. So what I can see is that the R is low, the B is high, the G is in the middle. So I want to, for this image, and that's a bright part, I'm going to go down here to my gain. And this is the really simple version of this, so bear with me. The lift is your darkest parts, the gamma is your midtones, and the gain is the bright parts. This is bright, and I know that we're a little too blue and not quite enough red. I'm going to very slightly increase my red, like 0.01, and very slightly decrease my blue, like 0.99. Let's go back over here, and I can see I'm closer. So maybe I need to do a little more intensity on that. A little more red, a little less blue. And now you can see I'm getting 200, 202, 204. We're a lot closer. That's pretty good to even. Now I know that my image is white balanced, and that will actually increase the quality. If you look right here, before and after, before and after. It's actually a pretty big difference. And there's lots more I can play with, but let's say I was happy with this and I wanted to copy this color grade to another clip because it's all done specifically by clip. There are a couple really easy ways to do that. The first would be to just click on it and then hit Ctrl-C and then paste it in another clip that has the same lighting. So if I click right here, I can hit Ctrl-V and see it adds that color grade. Now, what if I wanted to apply it across many different clips in a lot of different places on the timeline? Easy way to do that, go up here into the image of the clip you've already color graded, right click on it and hit grab still. It's gonna put an image up here that is a still image with all of the color grading you've done, whatever that is, applied to that still. So all I have to do is go to another clip, go up to that still, right click it, and hit apply grade. And look, it adds that grade to the footage, and you can do that to any individual clip down the line. But things aren't always as simple as just correcting the white balance. Sometimes what you're looking to do is add a certain look to it. A very popular one is the orange teal look. See, all of us, regardless of our skin tone, have a pigment called melanin in there. And melanin is orange. That's where we get our peachiness or brownness from, is this orange pigment in our skin. And teal is kind of a complementary color to orange. So if we enhance the orangeness in our skin and enhance the tealness of things around us, that can help add a lot of pop and contrast to the people in your shots. So even in this shot with my wife, there's 2 things you can do really simply to make it pop more. First one is to go in here and on these 3 dots next to your custom curves, make sure you're on this window. On these 3 dots, click here and go to editable splines. And this straight line here, you want to turn it into an S-curve. So I'm going to click on this one and it's going to give me a little dot here, and I'm going to pull it up a little bit, and you can see it's brightening, dimming, brightening, dimming. pull it up a little bit. I want a very soft S, okay? And then I'm going to click on the bottom one and do the same thing. Drag this down a little bit. See, now I've added contrast. Look, you can see the difference here. Without, with, without, with. Already better, right? Then after I've given it a bit of a curve, I'm going to go over here to what looks kind of like a spider web next to the S-curve thing. And then, very simple, click on this yellow-green area and drag it very slightly toward the orange. All right? And then click that and the orange and go over here to Luma and watch your image as you slightly increase it. And you'll see it will increase the lightness of the skin tones just a little bit. Then I'm going to click out all those and go to the blue and drag it down into the teal a little bit. It causes a little more contrast. Let's look at it with and without. With, without, with, without. It's amazing. You look at this and be like, oh, that looked fine before, but now, oh, that's so different. Little adjustments like that. Popping the orange up, making the blues a little more teal, then dragging another lightness can make a big difference. And if you're ever trying to figure out what your image looked like before the color grading, Ctrl D on Windows, probably Command D on your Mac machines. And actually, I would say this is quite a bit better than what the auto color did. That's the actual auto color work. That's what we did.
Hello and welcome back to
Without,
my channel. My
with.
name is Brigitte.
Different world. And this clip came from a member of the audience, JANUS from Farbar, might be Janus, I think that's what the internet said. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But he provided this clip from his channel, from his rough cut, for me to play with the color a little bit. Now, I can't remember if he used a GoPro or the Canon M50 for this. The footage doesn't look too bad, but you will notice that the background's a little overexposed. He's a little darker than you'd like. It's okay, but it's not great. And we can see why that is. Down here in the scopes, make sure you've selected parade instead of waveform or whatever it might be set on by default. You can see that this bottom part, the darks are not dark. And at the very top, that's your lights. Everything's hitting up against it. We want to have this more distributed throughout the levels of light that can be there so that there's more contrast throughout the image. So I can see I need to bring things down. Remember I said the lift was the shadows, the darker part of your footage. I'm going to just grab the white part of that because that's going to bring all those colors down. And when I bring that down, I'm going to watch the bottom of the scopes and try to get lower toward the bottom. And you can see it's making more contrast, higher, darker. Now let's look at what we've got before and after already, just with a little adjustment of the lift, a little more contrast. That's helpful, right? But also the mids maybe need to be brought down. So I'm going to go to the gamma and drag that down as well. One of the issues here is that even the lightest parts are just too light. See, they're popping up against the top of the graph here. So I'm going to grab the highlights and pull those down a little bit. I think that actually looks a little better.
One eternity later.
Now look at this. Now look at that. I just did a bunch of stuff off camera. If you really want to see a tutorial on this, I can make one, but you got to subscribe and let me know in the comments that you're interested. But if you're just struggling with how to edit your content, I made a video breaking down my whole editing workflow. So after you hit subscribe, go ahead and click here to watch that.